Would you like to revise your position,
May
Mr.
I
Tiwari?
May I very respectfully ask Mr. Jaitley that if everything was so hunky-dory in Gujarat, then why did the Supreme Court have to intervene? Why were trials shifted out of Gujarat? Why was the Supreme Court compelled to observe that while the Neros of Gujarat were fiddling, the state was burning? After all, these are realities which we cannot detract from. And why is it that the Gujarat government is on record in fake encounter cases admitting to excesses which their police had repeatedly committed? So therefore, it's all very well that because you have a euphoric moment of victory, you can reflect on it in whatever manner you feel like, but that does not sweep the dark and ugly reality of what happened in Gujarat over the past 10 years under the carpet, Mr. Jaitley.
Well, the past 10 years, there's not been a single day of curfew. Nobody justifies a social tension or a riot. But you still haven't, and I reiterate for the third time, answered the question that the Indian judiciary was a silent spectator to what happened in 1984 compared to the level of judicial scrutiny in 2002.
Mr. Arun Jaitley, one second.
Mr. Jaitley, you've been law minister of the country.
I can see here that both of you are enjoying this, and I think our viewers also are enjoying this.
It would be far more advisable to actually direct that question at the mandarins of our judiciary. I don't think I'm in a position to really be answering that question. You, as somebody who's been the former law minister, you are a very eminent lawyer and leader of opposition now. I think it would be very fair that if you direct that question to the mandarins of our judiciary. If you think that there was a miscarriage of justice or that the judiciary deliberately or otherwise chose to be silent.
While you say that, but Mr. Tiwari, while you say that, you do not discount the fact that the question which has been posed itself has a certain relevance of its own. Now, gentlemen, I must not be selfish about it. Many of our panelists have been waiting for their turn to ask a few questions to the very eminent panelists here today, and I'd like to go across first to Swaminathan Iyer. I'll take everyone's question. Swami Iyer made a point about if Modi is effective, why didn't he work in Himachal Pradesh? I know you have to go, Mr. Jaitley. Take that question, please.
Well, the answer is very simple.
In outside Gujarat was Himachal Pradesh. Earlier this year, he did not campaign in UP, Punjab, Uttarakhand. And if you see, the BJP appears to have actually done better in Punjab and Uttarakhand, where there was no Modi, than in Himachal Pradesh, where there was Modi. So then the question arises, well, of course, this is a very small sample. From this, you can't draw a conclusion about Mr. Modi's impact all over India. But is this not a weak and unconvincing start?
Well, I don't think that question has a much greater significance for the simple reason Modi did spend one day in Himachal Pradesh. And if Modi spends one day in Himachal Pradesh addressing 3 or 4 meetings, that doesn't change the landscape of Himachal Pradesh, particularly if the BJP has 17 rebel candidates in the state. Therefore, the election of every state is on the issues and the political situation of that state. Modi is not a magic wand who will go and turn the election in his one-day campaign in Himachal Pradesh. I am sure Modi is an important campaigner for the BJP, but certainly a very key campaigner, the most important campaigner in Gujarat. He is also an important campaigner outside the state.
One question for you, Mr. Jaitley from Navika.
Mr. Jaitley, the big question that everybody wants to know is, while Modi's success has worked in Gujarat 3 times around, will it work outside Gujarat? And more importantly, with the BJP, allow him to come to the centre? Is it ready to project Modi in a far larger role or even the main prime ministerial role for the 2014 elections?
Just lost the link, I think, Navika, unfortunately.
In the course of a television interview, these are questions after the great amount of detailed discussion which are decided by the party at an appropriate time. And I'm sure we'll keep your suggestions in mind when we take that decision before the 2014 election.
Well, Mr. Jaitley, interestingly, nicely dodged the question out there. My question to the panelists at this point is that
Congress has talked more about 2002 today than in the entire campaign.
Well,
Manish Tiwari has talked more about 2002 today than all through the campaign in Gujarat.
I want to ask Manish Tiwari.
These issues.
Mr. Manish Tiwari,
after the elections are over, he is talking about 2002. He should have spoken this in the public meetings in 2002, about 2002, by 2002, and and for 2002 in Gujarat.
1 second.
Why he has not done that?
One at a time, gentlemen. One at a time. Manish Tiwari is still there.
I want to ask
he can
Mr.
hear
Tiwari.
you loud and clear. Any questions for Mr. Manish Tiwari?
Yeah, I want to ask him.
To Manish Tiwari. Manish Tiwari.
Mr. Tiwari, you know, one of the traditions of our democracy has been that the loser very graciously congratulates wholeheartedly the winner. How did the grand old party of India fall short of doing this today? And Congress's leaders were talking about winning in Gujarat.
Well, I think, if I recognize that voice correctly, if that is Nirja ji, I think the shoe's on the other foot. The winner really in this case is the Congress party. As I earlier pointed out, we reclaimed a state from the Bharatiya Janata Party. So if anybody should have been magnanimous in their congratulations, it should have been the BJP and not us. And going back to the earlier question as to why are we talking about 2002 today? We talked about 2002 in 2002. We talked about 2002 all throughout the whole decade from 2002 to 2012. And since you talk about my public meetings, I'll send you the verbatim, transcript of my public meetings, and you can make your own judgment whether we spoke about the Gujarat program or not.
Well, I would like to at this stage thank Mr. Arun Jaitley for joining us on the News Hour. Manish Tiwari, please don't go because the debate continues. But Mr. Arun Jaitley, I'd like to thank you for joining our panel, taking our questions, and congratulations on a hard-fought victory there in Gujarat. Now, they parted ways on an extremely bitter note, with Keshubhai launching a series of attacks on Narendra Modi. This evening, after his resounding victory, Modi, who in his campaign decided to completely ignore the taunt, decided to get back. He instead reached out to his predecessor, Keshubhai Patel, in the process also sending out a very clear message to the Congress party.
Shortly after Gujarat handed him a landslide win, Narendra Modi making a large-hearted gesture, making a personal visit to his rival Keshubhai Patel's house. Modi seeking the blessings of the man who in recent times has been one of his biggest critics. Along with the pleasantries, the two heavyweights of Gujarat politics also sharing some sweets. Modi also inquiring about the patriarch's health.
મારી તબિયતનું ધ્યાન રાખવા માટે જ આવીશ ટાઈમ ટુ ટાઈમ બરાબર સોરી ભાષણ કરવાની છે ક્યાંય ભાષણ નથી કર્યું.
After this meeting, Modi leaving Keshubhai's house quietly.
सर एक रिएक्शन छोटा सा सब लोग one small reaction sir.
Keshubhai touched by Modi's surprise visit.
2007 के साल में भी मैंने उनको पूछा था कि धन्यवाद देने के लिए मैं आऊं, कब आऊं? तब उसने कहा था कि मैं आपके घर पर आता हूं. उसी समय इस साल भी जीतने के बाद वो यहाँ पर आए.
Narendra Modi showing that in triumph he's gracious, even with those on the other side of the electoral fence. Bureau Report, Times Now.
Now let's reopen the debate. Manish Tiwari is now joined by Ravi Shankar Prasad. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Rajya Sabha, and Manish Tiwari, Minister for Information and Broadcasting. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, I'm not going to go into questions of grace and how whether or not the Congress party was graceful enough, etc., etc. That's not the issue. My direct question to you, because you did say, Mr. Prasad, that I want direct questions tonight. My direct question to you is, what is the impact nationally of this, in your view, on the Congress-BJP fight? And then we'll get a response from Manish Tiwari.
Well, Congress-BJP fight is well known. We oppose Congress. We oppose their malgovernance. We oppose their governing the country. We oppose the corruption. We oppose the price rise. Now what has happened is that the way Congress party almost gave up the fight in Gujarat, in the sense, as I had told you earlier, that all the three main players were from Sangh Parivar, Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Keshubhai Patel and Mr. Shankar Singh Waghela. There was no from the original stock of Congress party. People preferred the original Narendra Modi for his good governance. Now how it will happen? The BJP worker stands charged. It stands energized. It stands in a way that now we have to ensure an effective change in 2014. It will certainly have its impact. In the Central Hall today, many of their allies were talking in glowing terms about Narendra Modi. I can see the change. How it will fan out in the coming days, it is to be seen. They have to keep on managing their two good chronic allies, SP and BSP. Vulnerable Congress party has become. Let's see how it shapes in the coming months.
Now, did you give up the fight for Gujarat, Manish Tiwari? Ravi Shankar Prasad says you gave up the fight for Gujarat. Is that why Rahul Gandhi came into the election campaign so late? Is that the real story, well, I think, Mr. Tiwari?
Well, I think Arnab, so late in the day, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, try as he may, he can't stalk up a victory and actually try and obfuscate a defeat. I put the same point to him, which I had put to you at the beginning of this show, that we go into an election in two states, both are held by the Bharatiya Janata Party, they actually lose one, hold on to one. Who's the victor? Is the victor the Congress or the Bharatiya Janata Party, who's actually lost a state in which they were governing? So therefore, all this talk about malgovernance and corruption and the various other adjectives that he's used, may I remind Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad that they ran a very pernicious campaign against Mr. Veerbhadra Singh and ran it with ruthless efficiency, which comes out of a machine which has been trained in the art of innuendo. It fell flat on its face. The people of Himachal Pradesh rejected it squarely. So therefore, that's the reality. And, try as they much to fish in waters which are untroubled, the fact is that for the last 8 years, the UPA coalition has been stable, and it will continue to be stable till 2014.
Did you give up the fight was the question put. I'd have a small observation. On air tonight, you have the present Information and Broadcasting Minister taking on a past Information and Broadcasting Minister. Two spokespersons for their parties. Just a small aside here. Ravi Shankar Prasad, would you like to respond back? I actually want to open this up to our panel here today. Do you feel somewhere, Arti Jerath, do you feel that somewhere the Congress did not put up enough of a fight? Do you agree with Ravi Shankar Prasad's assertion there? They didn't put a fight strong enough.
No, absolutely. And I think we've been saying this from the beginning because they made several blunders and they seem to vacate the space. And Arnab, I'd like to bring in this personality issue here.
Yeah.
Because I think in Himachal Pradesh, Veerbhadra Singh, the fact that they projected him, they gave him the run of the campaign, he had a free hand, I think that made a lot of difference in Himachal, which is probably why the corruption issue did not really play out, the corruption allegations against Veerbhadra Singh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, therefore, can we conclude from this that the Congress must project somebody in 2014 and that somebody has to be none other than Rahul Gandhi?
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to get Vinod Mehta back on.
Arnab, I've been dying to make one point since I've been sitting in my house and watching your program. And there's one aspect of Narendra Modi's speech which we seem not to have given enough importance to. When he on Victory Day apologized and said, "Mujhe maaf kar do," he's a stubborn man, he's an egotistical man, he's not a man who's going to apologize. Who was he apologizing to?
Who was he apologizing to, Ravi Shankar Prasad?
Was he apologizing to Keshubhai?
Who was he apologizing to?
Standards.
No, who was he apologizing? Let's get it fair.
That he's apologizing.
Who was he apologizing to?
He's apologizing to. You must draw the conclusion that he has moved one step at least towards apologizing to the.
No, you are saying that he's apologizing for 2002?
No, but he said, "Mujhe maaf kar do." Who is he asking? Who is he? That question is directed to. Who is he saying?
Let Ravi Shankar Prasad answer.
Let Ravi Shankar Prasad answer. Swaminathan Iyer and Vinod Mehta both want you to answer. Who was Narendra Modi apologizing to, Mr. Prasad? And why? What is the political meaning of that observation? Why did he say it today on that speech from that forum?
Or any other question, or should I go ahead now? Or no, let me put it completely in a different perspective. Today is the great victory of Narendra Modi. Yes, we lost Himachal Pradesh because of history. It does not impinge upon our bad governance. It was extraordinary governance, Dhumalji. But in Himachal Pradesh, one party has never been repeated, and they have followed with that lessons of history, which we have lost. I acknowledge that. But as far as Narendra Modi's case is concerned, he won today because of his good governance, national international campaign.